Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next short attention span webinar. Kelly Malazzi, welcome back.
Why, thank you. It's good to be back.
How was your vacation?
Oh, it's been nothing but long naps and walks on the beach, I'm telling you.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Kelly, why don't you, is it okay if we tell everybody where you've been? I think most of them know.
Sure.
All right. Kelly has doubled the size of her family.
It's true. My boys are 7 weeks, they're 7 weeks old now, so but 8 weeks by the time they hear this, I think.
But are they listening to these?
No.
No. Okay. Just checking. All right. To know if we have
No,
a
but
fan
you
group.
probably can hear at some point in this recording you will likely hear screaming in the background, so just be warned.
Yeah, well, if you're screaming on this end, it's because I just got a tuition bill in the mail.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So let's talk about where we are in the calendar. And, we record these well ahead of time. We recorded a bunch of them so that Kelly could go off and have her babies. And now that she is back, we're going to be talking about what's coming up in the next 5 weeks. Just looking at the calendar here, Kelly, so May 27th is Memorial Day, and we will be releasing this one tomorrow, actually. We're recording this on, what is today, 23rd of May. And so Monday's the 27th, and then we've got 5 weeks between the week that starts the 27th, or the first business day being the 28th, and the end of June. 24 business days. And what we want to talk about today is how best to make use of those 691,200 seconds, because something unique is coming, and that is the slowdown of the 4th of July. The 4th of July this year, Kelly, is on a Thursday. Now, wouldn't you think that most people would take the 5th off?
Most definitely.
Okay, so that leaves us then the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. Now, we don't like to assume, but it would certainly look like that is going to be a rather difficult week to get anything done. Maybe some good time to get things wrapped up. But we want you to have as much momentum going into that week as possible, starting with looking ahead to September 2nd. Now, Kelly, September 2nd is Memorial Day. And maybe this
Labor Day.
Labor Day, excuse me, Labor Day. So now you get the unofficial end of summer. And really, when you wake up on that next day, the 3rd of September, where do you want to be, Kelly? You as a salesperson, where do you want to be?
Right. I mean, I'd love to have a full pipeline. I'd love to have a lot of quotes in my out basket. I'd love to have a full schedule of meetings that I'm attending and know about projects coming in. I mean, I'd like to just be in full swing.
Okay, terrific, and really not that complicated. What is it going to take to get there? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here. This one, commit to it. Here's the problem with a lot of plans, a lot of diet plans, a lot of exercise plans, a lot of prospecting plans. We say we're going to do it, we do it for a day or two, and then we stop. So, Kelly, if I'm going to commit to this thing, I want to make it reasonable, right? I want to make it achievable, and I want to make some kind of a daily sales commitment.
Yep.
So what's the advantage? Why not make it something like really high, like 15 calls a day? What's wrong with that thinking?
Well, again, depending on where you are today, setting a goal that far exceeds, what you're currently doing just sets you up for failure. I mean, it's like walking into a gym and going, I need to lose 15 pounds by the end of the month. Again, as you mentioned, it needs to be reasonable. It needs to be a bit of a stretch. It definitely needs to be more than what you're doing right now, but it shouldn't be something that's so lofty that that you get disappointed in yourself very quickly.
Okay. And the other thing is, I think that there's an advantage to setting the bar at a reasonable level, because when you achieve it, when you go over the bar, when you make all those sales calls, you get a certain sense of satisfaction which permeates through everything else that you do. So set that daily sales goal. I want you to add one more call, and here's why. Because of that 5-week time frame, one more call over 24 days is 24 sales calls, 24 additional sales calls on top of whatever it was that you set as a goal. So make it something reasonable, and then add that one extra challenge. I did this a couple summers ago, Kelly, where I said I'm going to make 5 calls a day. but I'm going to add one because I think anybody can make 5. And you know what, Bill? If you can make 5, you can make 6. And that 6th one really made a difference.
Sure.
You know, it really did. It kept me going for quite a long time. Next up is to do it early. So, okay, now we've got this sales goal. And let's say it's 5 calls a day. Why are we telling people to do it early, Kelly?
Because, you know, your day is going to come off the rails pretty quickly. At least some days that happens where, you know, you've got clients calling and coworkers bothering you, and then your spouse calls and says there's a leak in the basement. You know, and so much can get in the way. And it's your job and it's life, and that's normal. But just knowing that you had it done before 9 o'clock just makes it that much more likely that you're actually going to get to it, and it's not just going to be that thing that hovers around on your to-do list and you don't ever get to it.
Yeah, and that's just it. You know, do you have to do all 5 early? No. Maybe you knock 2 out by 9:30 in the morning, and that way it's not as, you know, the rest of the day is not as bad. But, you know, you definitely want to do it. Now, Kelly, what happens if it's Tuesday and I am absolutely buried and I do not get to my sales calls? Do I skip those calls for the rest of the week?
No, you add them to the next day. You do 12 on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Cool. Or if I do 4 extra, that means I've got 2 extra that I got to catch up on. Likewise, if I know that I'm going to be buried on Tuesday, what do I do on Monday? Well, I make extra sales calls. Do I make all extra? No, I make as many as I can, so I've got some in the bank. So do it not only early in the day, but early in the week as well. At the same time, you want to check in with existing customers. So the idea here is to build up momentum. Let's not forget about our existing clients. Kelly, what kind of conversation would we want to have with an existing client?
Well, it's so timely to say, hey, you know, I just realized we're about halfway through the year, and what I like to do with all of my great customers is kind of do a mid-year check-in, just to kind of see how things are going, what kind of feedback you have from us, give you some senses of where we're at and kind of what's on the horizon for next year, and, you know, likewise do that with you. Find out if there's any new initiatives. It might even be a time to ask that magic wand question. You know, hey, if we gave you a magic wand and let you wave it around, what would you like to see from us? I mean, it's just, again, that timing is perfect because it's halfway through the year. Let's just do that, you know, biannual check-in.
Cool. And finally, reward yourself. Boy, what a great job you've done. You've made your calls. Do I want to reward myself at the end of the month? Do I want to reward myself at the end of the week? You know what? Whatever works for you. If your goal is to make, say, 6 calls a day and you've made 30 by Friday, take yourself out to lunch. Take yourself out to breakfast. You know, maybe you've made that goal of hitting every single call for 24 consecutive business days. Great. Then reward yourself with something bigger. But don't forget, you know, a little pat on the back. You are going to pick up more sales, but you got to give yourself that little attaboy along the way. So anyway, Kelly, anything more we want to tell them? Anything else you can think of that we forgot?
You know, I think kind of breaking it down by the days and the hours and everything is a really important point about perspective. That a single call really takes a couple of minutes. So just keep that in perspective when you're setting those goals and holding yourself in that accountability.
You will be very glad that you did come you know, after the 4th of July. And we'll talk about what to do with that 4th of July week, as a matter of fact, on a future short attention span webinar. In the meantime, thank you, Kelly. You didn't skip a beat. You still got it, kid.
Thanks, Bill.
And we'll talk to you all in the next short attention span webinar.